Hello there folks, welcome back to the channel. I really need to get better at uploading content to YouTube. Almost 3 years ago, I uploaded my review of our 2019 Ford Kuga. If you didn't catch that video, it was a second generation facelift model, ST-Line, with the 1.5 EcoBoost petrol engine and a manual gearbox. A link to the video is in the description if you would like to see it. You see, I like reviews of cars that are uploaded once a person has owned a car for a period of time and got to know it, rather than having spent a few hours with it. In the last video, I'd had the car for 2 years and shared my thoughts. Well, in this video, it's much of the same. This is my third generation Kuga, and in this video, I'll share my thoughts following 3 years of ownership. So this one is a 2021 Kuga ST-Line with the 1.5 EcoBlue turbo diesel engine, and it has the 8-speed automatic gearbox. This is a Euro 6 engine that is compliant with low emission zones throughout the UK. Similar to the last Kuga, other than replacing a tyre due to a puncture, I've had nothing fail on the car and not had to utilise the warranty. It has been a very reliable car, and in the 3 years I've had it, it has covered just under 15,000 miles. I did however make a mistake with the choice of engine on this car. My biggest complaint with the last Kuga was a lack of torque that the 1.5 EcoBoost petrol engine provided, so I went with the diesel this time. The issue that I now have is that I don't drive enough and have had 3 years of issues with the diesel particle filter, or DPF, needing assistance to regenerate. Again, this is not a fault of the car and a poor choice on my part. If I could go back in time, I'd say the plug-in hybrid would have been the better choice for us. I did notice that Ford are no longer offering a diesel engine option when you spec up a new Kuga. Being a modern diesel car, it also requires AdBlue. In the 3 years, I've filled the AdBlue 3 times. It's the first and will be the last car that I've had with AdBlue, so I can't comment as to whether that's good or bad. Maybe someone can confirm in the comments below. AdBlue is readily available in local filling stations, supermarkets and motor factors. However, I found that buying it via eBay was a little cheaper. Assuming that it comes with a spout, filling the AdBlue isn't an issue. So let's talk about the car itself and what you get with the ST-Line trim. Similar to our second generation, it has a half leather Alcantara seats with a dark interior including the headlining. It has a good touchscreen infotainment system that has navigation, digital radio and support for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The speaker grills in the dashboard are branded B&O, but the sound is on par with every other car that we've had. In the front it comes with 2 USB sockets, which is handy if one driver has an Apple device and the other Android. It also includes a wireless charger, but large phones with a chunky case might not fit. In the rear there's a 12-volt power socket and a USB-C connection for charging devices. The 2 other additions the ST-Line has over the previous generation are the reversing camera and the lane assist feature. The reversing camera is handy to have, but I always disable the lane assistance feature. I should also add that this car has Sync version 3.4, which does not include the wireless ability of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I suspect that the newer models might include this. On this model, the instrument cluster is fully digital, which feels a little bit more modern. However, it's not something that I miss when I drive our other car. The appearance of it does change when you select a different driving mode, such as Sport, but other than the cosmetics, I don't see any other benefit that it offers. It would be nice when navigating that the map shows, but this isn't the case. It only shows directions as you approach junctions. I do like that the dated automatic gearbox selector has been exchanged for this dial, which feels a lot more modern. You can, of course, put the car into manual and use the flaps behind the steering wheel, but this feels more like a gimmick than an actual beneficial thing to have. There is no S for Sport on the selector, as this is done by picking the drive mode as shown previously. Like the generation before it, the Kuga is a spacious car. This one is slightly larger than its predecessor, but it's not something substantial enough to notice in my opinion. We're a family of 5 and we have a Labrador. We find the sizing of the Kuga is perfect. The ability to tilt the rear seats from the boot space has come in very handy. On the looks front, I'm a fan and have been a fan of how Fords have looked for a few years now. The name of this colour is Chrome Blue. It's a metallic paint. I was pleased to see that this generation comes with fully painted 18-inch wheels rather than diamond cut, which in my experience are difficult to keep looking good through the winter. In addition to the automatic lights and wipers, this generation came with full LED headlights with automatic high beam option, which has worked very well in my experience. This one also came with a motorised tailgate, which was a nice surprise for us when it arrived. The performance of the engine and gearbox is fine. This one's 120 brake horsepower, which is 30 brake horsepower less than the EcoBoost that we had in the old Kuga. However, due to the increased torque that the EcoBlue diesel has, the car feels a lot punchier pulling away from junctions and accelerating on things like slip roads. Automatic gearboxes always feel a little bit different depending on the car. In my experience, the one in the Kuga is fine, but I find the one of my friend's Kia Optima is a bit smoother. But neither of them compare to the DSG gearbox that Volkswagen use. When the automatic gearbox is set to drive, the car does not display the gear that the car is in. We did have a small issue with this car and its service schedule. I feel like the car and the local Ford dealership both have issues here. When the car was a year old and had covered around about 5,000 miles, it stated that it needed a service. The advisor booked it in, they completed the service and told us 1, that'll be £300 please, and 2, the car didn't need to be serviced. The following year, the car again said it needed a service, so my wife took it in. We expected another £300 bill, and they said that the car didn't need a service and then reset the counter for us. Last month, less than a year later, the car was again saying it requires a service, but when we took it to Ford, they said it didn't and they reset the counter. This seems like a little bit of a mess, and I'm not sure if others are experiencing the same. So other than the service niggle having a puncture and forever being told we have to drive to clear the exhaust filter, the Kuga has again been a great car for us, and one that I'd have no issue recommending. If you're wondering what car we've got to replace this, unfortunately it isn't another Kuga, and we've been shopping for an electric vehicle, so the Kuga has been replaced with a Tesla Model Y. However, this isn't the end of us having a Ford in the family. I recently picked up a Ford Focus ST as our second car. I might create a video about that in time. So thanks again for watching. If you have any specific questions, please comment below. If you'd like to see a review of the Tesla or the Focus ST, please subscribe and you can catch them when they're uploaded.